This might just be the most important video you're going to watch before your Disney World trip. When you're struggling to narrow down where to eat, what to make reservations for, and how to budget for food, you need to hear it straight. What restaurants really should you be prioritizing for your upcoming vacation? Find out today on DFV Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Vlog. So having hundreds of different restaurant options across all of the Disney World Resort area is usually a great thing, until it gets to be too overwhelming. So today we're looking at a ton of different dining categories and narrowing down what we think right now are the best Disney World restaurants for each, just to make it easy for you. Now before we get started, I want to let you know that the DFB team and I put our heads together and actually came up with a top 10 restaurants list for each Disney World park and the Disney Springs shopping district. If you want to take a look at that list yourself, be sure to scan the QR code you see on the screen right now, or head over to disneyfoodblog.com/top restaurants to pick up your free top 10 list right after this. We are going to start with character dining because it's very expensive and it's very hard to choose between. Being able to meet your favorite Disney characters and fill up on a bountiful spread of grub all at the same time is what we like to call efficiency. But not every character dining experience in Disney has that solid blend of good food, great meet and greets, and a great atmosphere. So let's talk about which ones actually do. If you're looking for a character dining experience with rare characters and a menu for slightly more adventurous eaters, Storybook Dining with Snow White at Artist Point inside Disney's Wilderness Lodge can check off all those boxes. Storybook Dining is a dinner-only prix character meal that takes place in an enchanted forest, so you already know it's going to be good. The menu here isn't only clever, with appetizers, entrees, desserts, and drinks with fairy tale theming, but the quality of the food is also impressive. From the rich and creamy mushroom bisque that, of course, if those of you who are as old as I am used to go to Artist Point, and you get it in a cute little cauldron when you get it as an appetizer here at Storybook Dining. There's also that tender and flavorful cottage beef stroganoff and Miner's Treasure dessert trio. My favorite thing here is the prime rib. It's probably the best prime rib I've had on property, believe it or not, which I know sounds kind of surprising, but it was amazing. So I really do think that the food you order here is just as interesting presentation-wise as it is flavorful. Artist Point is also the only character dining restaurant where you're going to meet Snow White, Dopey, and Grumpy and have a chance to take a photo with the evil queen herself. Now, while this character experience can be a great option for older guests, it may not be the preferred option for your kid, especially if they're looking forward to seeing Mickey Mouse or if they're wondering where the chicken tenders and fries are. So make sure to talk with your kid before trying to book those advanced dining reservations for Artist Point, just so you don't wind up paying a whole lot of money for a meal that they end up unimpressed by. Now, if you do have pickier eaters in your group or you've got kids, then of course, Garden Grill inside Epcot is a better character dining alternative for you. Garden Grill is a longtime favorite of mine for multiple reasons. First of all, you got that Chip 'n Dale's Harvest Feast to look forward to, which is an all-you-can-eat family-style selection of classic eats, including lunch and dinner options like harvest-inspired garden salad, barbecue roasted chicken, mac and cheese, grilled beef with chimichurri, fresh veggies, spoon bread, creamy mashed potatoes, berry shortcake, so basically a little something for everybody. And the kids' menu is a little bit different, and it's even safer for picky eaters. And breakfast is also served here in all-you-can-eat fashion with items like Mickey waffles, cinnamon breakfast loaf, cheesy potato casserole, and several other classic morning munchies for Disney restaurants. Now, during this meal, you might start feeling like your eyes are playing tricks on you, but rest assured they are not. The Garden Grill dining room actually rotates while you're eating, taking you through scenes straight from the Living with the Land attraction. And of course, you can't forget about the characters. Mickey, Pluto, and Chip 'n Dale visit your table frequently. They're all dressed in their farmer outfits, which is great and adorable. So you're going to more than likely see them coming around to say hello multiple times throughout your meal. That is not what will happen at Storybook Dining. You will see those characters once, my friends. But at Garden Grill, it's a very small restaurant, so they're going to come around several times. Garden Grill is one of those meals many folks end up skipping out on because, well, to be frank, there are so many other adventurous eats sprinkled all throughout Epcot. But even though the menu here is more than familiar, the quality of the food has been top-notch for us over and over and over again. It does not feel mass-produced. It feels very fresh and very now. So expect it to exceed your expectations. Okay, Okay, how about brunch? It's too late for breakfast, too early for lunch, and yet it's still the perfect time for a very nice, filling meal. We love brunch at Disney World because you eat a whole bunch of brunch and then you can probably just snack the rest of the day and not have to pay for 2 big meals, right? Well, Disney World has several restaurants that offer up brunch menus, either on just the weekends or all week long. If you want to hit up a restaurant that declares all times as brunch time, the Grand Floridian Cafe at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa could be the ticket. Grand Flo Cafe tends to get lost in the shadows of its more expensive Grand Floridian restaurant comrades, some of which just might appear in this list later on, but it continues to be an underrated gem with a relaxed atmosphere, easy to snag reservations, and several standout brunch eats like the buttermilk fried chicken and waffles, the brioche French toast, and the smoked salmon Florentine Benedict, just to name a few. To experience a more limited time brunch menu that I probably like even better than the Grand Floridian Cafe, if I'm being totally honest, Raglan Road over at Disney Springs offers a rollicking Raglan weekend brunch, which is so much more than just its food. This happens between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. On their brunchy stuff menu, you'll be able to order familiar brunch favorites with a bit of an Irish twist, like the pancake diaspora with creme fraiche, maple syrup, and mixed berry compote. You got bread pudding French toast, which is unbelievably sweet and delicious. The Anglo-Irish is an eggs Benedict with sliced Irish ham, wilted spinach, and hollandaise sauce, all on top of a brioche muffin. And a newer option called the All This and Eggs on Top is made with pulled slow braised beef, potato hash, sauteed mushrooms, green onions, and mushroom ketchup with 2 Sunnyside eggs on top. Now, don't forget, you don't have to order from the brunch menu here. You can also order from the lunch menu while you're there, which has a whole bunch of other stuff. So look at that menu before you go, because there are so many delicious things, and I want you to eat all of them, but I know you can't, so we'll have to make some difficult choices. Now, if you're sitting near the main stage, the Rhythms of Raglan Dance Show graces the dining room from noon to 3 p.m. during the weekend brunch, featuring traditional Irish dancing and music aplenty. Just a forewarning though, these performances are a good time, but they can get rather loud, so if you're looking for a more peaceful meal where you can freely talk to other people in your group without shouting at each other, then you may want to try another weekend lunch location or request to sit a little bit farther away from the stage. Moving on to buffets. If you have to buffet, these are the best ways. Recently, we posted a video ranking every single all-you-can-eat meal in Disney World, and while I still recommend you go check that video out, I'm going to go ahead and give you a major spoiler for which buffet we deemed as the best of the best, and that is Boma, Flavors of Africa, over at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. Boma offers up tons of different options on their breakfast and dinner buffets, ranging from more familiar eats like pastas and waffles, omelets, chicken tenders, and bread service, to unique and tasty dishes from over 50 different regions in Africa, including babooti, African spiced meats, sweet corn pudding, and a lot more. And they also give you unlimited pog juice during breakfast. I repeat, unlimited pog juice. Now, if you're looking for a small, quick, cheap meal inside the Disney bubble, this buffet is far from it. But if you want a restaurant that'll challenge your palate, provide you with the best bang for your buck, and give you an excuse to go visit one of the most beautiful deluxe resorts on property, make Boma a priority during your next trip. Now, maybe you want something brand new when you go to Disney World. You're bored with all the restaurants you keep going to over and over and over again, right? No problem. Lots of new restaurants are preparing to open up inside Disney World, but don't forget there are also new restaurants that have already opened in 2023 and are ready for you to book right now. And believe me when I say these new table service restaurants are definitely worth your attention. First up, I gotta give a shout out to Roundup Rodeo Barbecue, which finally opened at Hollywood Studios in March of this year. A couple of years late, who cares? Roundup Rodeo Barbecue is a colorful Toy Story themed restaurant that brings you inside Andy's backyard, well, kind of brings you inside Andy's house and shrinks you down to the size of a toy. This table service meal is served family style, so be prepared for a lot of barbecue food, including, but not limited to, the Prospector's homemade cheddar biscuits with sweet pepper jelly, that's one of our favorites on the menu, Slinky Dog's mac and cheese, Evil Doctor smoked ribs, there's a sausage in my boot, of course, and Bo's lemon and blueberry cheesecake. If you can't tell by the food names alone, Roundup Rodeo Barbecue takes their Toy Story theming very seriously. So seriously, in fact, that during your meal you'll have to freeze on command whenever you hear Sarge shout that Andy's coming. That way you're not spotted eating barbecue by a human. Now, the immersiveness of this restaurant is great and the food will fill you up quite nicely, but just keep in mind that this is by no means a quick restaurant. So if you don't want to sacrifice an hour or so out of your Hollywood Studios day just to eat, you may be better off swinging by one of the park's quick service locations instead, like Woody's Lunchbox, Backlot Express, or Docking Bay 7. Now, the absolute newest restaurant on the Disney scene per the release of this video is Shiki Sai Sushi Izakaya over in Epcot. Shiki Sai is a table service restaurant inside the Japan Pavilion that features several sushi and teppanyaki items, as well as small dishes like karaage chicken, salmon misuyaki, and tomato salad with avocado. While Shiki Sai has plenty of fresh and interesting items to choose from, what makes this restaurant really stand out is the fact that the real-life changing seasons bring forth brand new celebrations of Japanese food every month. Yep, they actually change the dining room and change the menu to be representative of the Japanese festival that month. And if you book a table in the evening, you might get lucky enough to get a seat next to one of the windows that overlook World Showcase Lagoon, which is where Epcot's Nighttime Spectacular takes place. However, even if you book a lunch reservation here instead, you might still be able to see fireworks, thanks to select tables that have digital windows featuring a Japanese garden with a virtual fireworks extravaganza. You're not always guaranteed to get one of these digital window tables, but it never hurts to request one with the host up front to help improve your chances. So since we're already on the subject of fireworks, how's about we talk about the best restaurants with fireworks views, right? Well, not every restaurant that overlooks one of the park's nighttime spectaculars will actually provide you with a guaranteed fireworks viewing vantage point. Some will give you that privilege no matter where you're seated. For the best fireworks view of the Magic Kingdom show, you're going to want to make reservations for California Grill, which is located up on the 15th floor of Disney's Contemporary Resort. Cali Grill is a signature restaurant with a 3-course prix-fixe menu of market-inspired eats, including options like that Sonoma goat cheese raviolo, which I absolutely love, oak-fired filet of beef, fire-roasted venison, and a chef's selection of California cheeses. And while the food tends to be fresh and exquisite and interesting, one of the main highlights of dining here is the private balcony. Even if you don't have a clear view of Cinderella Castle from where you're seated, you can go out on the balcony during your meal to get a clear view of the Happily Ever After fireworks. You'll even be able to hear the music that goes along with the show since it'll be piped in through the restaurant. And of course, you'll be able to hear it from the balcony because it's right there. Even if you dine here earlier in the evening, you can come back to watch the fireworks on the California Grill balcony by showing your meal receipt to the hosts, who will be located by the elevators on the 2nd floor of the hotel. And that's a tip that not a lot of people know. Now, if you'd rather see the Epcot fireworks, then Topolino's Terrace over at Disney's Riviera Resort is a good restaurant to make reservations for. Topolino's is a character dining experience by breakfast and a signature dining experience for dinner. The dining room atmosphere is very classy and spacious and also has all these lights that remind me of the golden frills of a flapper dress. You agree with me, right? Now, as far as the dinner menu is concerned, expect a wide selection of appetizers and entrees and desserts inspired by French and Italian flavors, like gnocchi and rigatoni and filet mignon and cheese boards, because these high-end restaurants love their cheese, and I do not blame them. Much like California Grill, it doesn't matter where you're seated in the restaurant because you'll have access to the outdoor terrace, hence the restaurant's name. Even without the fireworks view, the terrace is stunning with lots of lights and comfy seating and a glorious view across the resort. Now, you probably know this already, but both of these restaurants are not cheap experiences. However, if you don't mind skipping the main meal entirely and you're cool with just grabbing a drink and maybe a bite to eat, both restaurants do have first come, first served seating at their respective bars for guests 21 years and older, which will still grant you balcony access to go see the nighttime spectaculars from a whole new perspective. Now, if the fireworks for Epcot or Magic Kingdom are your family's #1 priority during vacation, then you may also prefer looking into the more specific fireworks dining packages available at both parks. At Epcot, you can book one of 2 restaurants for a fireworks dining package, either Rose and Crown or Spice Road Table, and these packages will not only give you a full meal at both locations, but also reserve seating to see the show. For Rose and Crown, that seating is over at the restaurant's covered outdoor patio, and at Spice Road Table, you'll have a reserved table in the covered outdoor dining room. For Magic Kingdom, the fireworks packages are less about full-on meals and more about the sugar. You can choose either pre-party or after-party or the seats and suites party for these dessert packages. And included, you'll have a chance to enjoy the nighttime fireworks spectacular Happily Ever After at a reserved location with terrific castle views alongside tons of desserts and drinks and other tasty munchies. So in case you can't already tell, the DFB team and I love to talk about all our different culinary experiences across the Disney World Resort. We love it so much, in fact, that we wrote a whole DFB guide to Walt Disney World dining to share all that insider knowledge with you. So you can enjoy these culinary experiences right along with us and learn about what restaurants you want to prioritize during your next visit. If you want to own your very own 3-part dining ebook, that we have poured our hearts and souls into, head to dfbstore.com and purchase yours today. And be sure to type in code YouTube before you check out to save extra money on your total purchase. Now, what if you want a non-Disney meal? Let's say you want to step out of the world of hidden Mickeys and roller coasters and repetitive It's a Small World music just for a nice meal that makes you forget about lightning lanes and 20,000-step park days for a minute. That's when you need to fix your eyes upon Three Bridges Bar and Grill over at Disney's Contemporary Resort. Now, this is located out on the water of Lago Dorado, so your meal will come with a nice side of gorgeous lakeside views across the resort. And that's a good start. Now, while this lounge feels pretty fancy upon first impression, you won't have to get all dressed up to visit, since the vibes are more laid back to give you that nice relax and unwind feel. But the views and vibes aren't the only reason to visit this place. Three Bridges also serves up upscale Spanish-inspired bar food and house-made cocktails. A few standout items we've tried here in the past that we definitely order again include options like the warm manchego and Oaxaca cheese dip. I would get that every day if I could. Steak frites, coconut chicken curry, and the sangria flight featuring all 4 of the restaurant's signature sangrias. Now, don't worry about making a reservation for this one, since Three Bridges is a first-come, first-served dining experience. While that does take the pressure off making ADRs, it does mean this place gets packed around dinner time, especially on the weekend, so you might find yourself placed on a wait list that could be 45 minutes to an hour long or longer. So here's a tip. If you're able to, try getting your name on the walk-up waitlist right when Three Bridges opens for the day, which is around 4:30. You can do that through the My Disney Experience app. But if you're not able to get your name on the list that early, if it sells out, then Three Bridges does stay open till midnight every evening, giving you plenty of time to eat there before things start to wrap up. But what if you want to separate yourself from Disney World so much that you don't even want to eat in a Disney-owned resort? Well, Il Molino New York Trattoria over at the Marriott-owned Swan Hotel, only steps away from Epcot and Hollywood Studios, could be the perfect alternative for you. Il Molino serves traditional dinners from the Abruzzi region of Italy inside a dining room with brick walls, dark wood tones, and rustic lighting. Highlights from the menu include the arancini di carne, which are Italian rice balls stuffed with house-made bolognese over spicy marinara sauce, risotto con funghi, that's the mushroom risotto, delicious, and a pork chop with cherry vinegar peppers and mushroom sauce that I'm not even going to try to say the name of. So if you don't want a full sit-down meal but still want to escape, no problem. The Il Molino Lounge features a wine bar and an outdoor terrace where guests can enjoy their beverage of choice, including options like small batch bourbon, cognacs, and brandy, and several different signature cocktails. Now, it may not feel like this is a kid-friendly restaurant, but there's going to be lots of kids here, so don't stress about that. If your kid likes spaghetti and meatballs, you are all set, because this is some of the best Italian food in Disney World. Okay, let's talk lounge dining. Good drinks, small bites, chill vibes. When you want to sit down and enjoy something to eat and drink in Disney without all the table service commitment, lounge dining is where it's at. But there's one particular lounge that trumps all the rest in the Disney scene, and that is Nomad Lounge over at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So Nomad is connected to the park's signature restaurant, Tiffin's, which means you can order select bites that come straight from the Tiffin's kitchen, including the Tiffin's bread service, the honey chili glazed pork belly that's delicious, and sometimes that lobster mac and cheese. But because this is a lounge known for its full menu of drinks, you're also going to want to try at least one handcrafted cocktail or mocktail, or maybe even wine or beer sourced directly from Africa and Asia. While there's no bad seat in the house, whether you're indoors or outdoors, most of the time I tend to request a seat out on the covered patio to soak up those views of the Discovery River, because really it's hard to be in a bad mood with a view like that. But if you are peak summer season, if it's super hot no matter where you go and you're just sweating bullets, then I always request an indoor table at Nomad. It's just as wonderful. Now, while I don't want to admit that there's any downside to Nomad because I love it so much, there is one big downer I gotta mention, and that's availability. Nomad Lounge is tiny. It can be tricky to get into, and since I'm not the only person who loves it, seating is limited and advance reservations are non-existent. So here's what you gotta do. As soon as Nomad opens, you're going to want to head to your My Disney Experience app and get yourself on the walk-up wait list. That wait list typically opens at 11 and it fills up quickly, so be sure to get in line before 11 a.m. at Nomad or get on your My Disney Experience app to get your spot. Outside of the parks, one of the best lounges you can visit during your vacation is Geyser Point Bar and Grill over at Disney's Wilderness Lodge. Geyser Point is a unique and rustic space with gorgeous waterfront views that offers two types of services for guests, a table service lounge and a quick service walk-up counter. Both have completely different menus to choose from as well. While so many Disney restaurants are indoors and very people-y, this open-air lakeside patio is practically an oasis waiting to be discovered. Just throw in one of those seasonal margarita flights, a handcrafted charcuterie board, and an artisan as an old bison burger off the lounge menu, you got yourself a slice of paradise right here. So one of my favorite memories of going to Disney World is when I first arrive and I am done with work and I go to the Polynesian Village Resort just to have that vacation feeling. I just escape. I'm not staying there, but I go there and get a big drink and a giant pineapple and really soak up the fact that I'm on vacation. So the next category we're going to talk about is tropical vibes. Welcome to a place where summer is endless and leis and Hawaiian shirts are never out of place and the fruity drink options are extensive. If you're looking for the ultimate tropical getaway inside Disney World Resort, Ohana over at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort is the restaurant you need to sail on over to, just like I have for so many years. So Ohana has a huge fan following and it's got good reason. The meals here are served family style in a tropical setting with a huge open kitchen where you can watch your food being made on the spot. For breakfast, you can nosh on classic morning eats with Hawaiian twists like pineapple coconut bread, island-style potatoes, and those Stitch waffles. Speaking of Stitch, you'll have the chance to meet Stitch in the morning along with Lilo, Pluto, and Mickey. But character dining is only offered during breakfast, since Stitch and company will be off wreaking havoc somewhere else by the time dinner rolls around. For dinner, you get a Hawaiian-inspired feast with skewered meats and dumplings and teriyaki noodles, those Ohana nudes, and the restaurant's famous bread pudding. Oh, and by the way, if you love the Ohana nudes as much as I do, we've got a t-shirt for that. You can go check it out at dfbstore.com. Now, although we're big-time fans of Ohana and have been for quite a while now, we're so not fans of how hard it can be to make advanced dining reservations here, even months before your trip. For a better chance at getting an Ohana reservation, make sure to set your alarms for 5:30 a.m. Eastern 60 days before your trip starts. While reservations are supposed to go live at 6 a.m. on the Disney World website, they are sometimes released even earlier than that, so be prepared for a very, very early morning, maybe even before the rooster crows. Now, if you're going to Disney World, you know you're going to be just inundated with Imagineering, right? Imagineers don't tend to hold back when it comes to immersive storytelling, not just in Disney's rides and shows, but also for their restaurants. So if theming of a restaurant is just as important to you, if not more important than the food itself, Space 220 over in Epcot is where you need to go to be transported somewhere else entirely for the duration of your meal. Space 220 actually starts off with a pre-show before you're taken over to your table. You'll board a Stellavator and blast off into the Earth's stratosphere, which will then lead you to the Centauri space station, otherwise known as the place you'll be eating your meal. Once you're inside the station, you'll be immersed in a room surrounded by giant windows looking out into space, the final frontier. And that means you're going to get a clear view of Earth as well as the occasional floating astronaut or ship or even Astro Dog. Space 220 serves a multi-course prix-fixe menu with 2 courses for lunch and 3 for dinner. While lunch is the cheaper option of the two, not cheap at all, but cheaper, dinner tends to serve some of our favorite menu options, including the seafood cannelloni rockets, the 8-ounce filet mignon, and the slow rotation 0G short rib. Yes, the names of the food are themed too. Don't be fooled by the cutesy space theme names though, because despite sounding mysterious and weird, there aren't a whole lot of adventurous flavors on the Space 220 menu. That might not be a huge deal for you if you're looking for more familiar cuisine, but at $55 per adult for lunch and $79 per adult for dinner, you might wind up disappointed in what you wind up with. For a potentially cheaper Space 220 option, so you can still see the Centauri space station without paying over $50 per person, you can always try to grab a reservation for the Space 220 Lounge instead, which will allow you to order off a menu of select a la carte lounge bites and a full menu of drinks. But watch out, the Space 220 Lounge seating can be even more difficult to get reservations for than the actual restaurant, so be sure to make those ADRs for it just as soon as you can. Every now and then, Space 220 does have walk-up availability at their bar for guests 21 and over, but in order to add your name to that walk-up wait list, or at least check to see if any availability will open up for the bar on the day of your visit, you'll need to head over to Space 220 to their host stand a little before the restaurant opens up around 11:30 a.m. But for a more classic immersive dining experience that's been around for a good long while now, the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater over at Hollywood Studios will bring you back to a day and age when sock hops and poodle skirts were all the rage. The Sci-Fi Dine-In dining room is made to look like a drive-in theater, from the giant movie screen playing clips of old classic films and cartoons to the perpetual nighttime sky and retro convertible tables and the concession stand in the back. The food here is pretty simple. Burgers and fries, salads, some ribs, some pasta dishes. It's not bad, but it's nothing stellar. Then again, the food isn't the main draw here. You're coming for the theming and the experience, which is great for families and couples or for anyone looking for a straight shot of nostalgia. Just a heads up though, it's real dark in here, so it's going to be hard to even see your food. Sometimes people bring little flashlights or use the flashlight on their phone to sort of see what they're eating, but be careful not to bother other folks in your car. Now, what if you want really fine dining? You thought Disney's signature restaurants were as fancy as it gets, but put those pinkies up even higher, my friends, because things are about to get even fancier. With its AAA 5-diamond rating, Victoria and Albert's in Disney's Grand Floridian Resort is a critically acclaimed restaurant that gives you your choice of 3 dining experiences. First, there's the main dining room, which features the chef's tasting menu and allows guests to choose anywhere between 8 to 12 courses that'll be personalized just for you about a week prior to your reservation. Next, you've got the Queen Victoria room, which only accommodates up to 8 guests at a time, spread out over 4 tables of 2. Guests dining here will be able to enjoy a version of the chef's degustation menu, which changes up regularly depending on what's fresh and in season. And finally, you've got the Victoria and Albert's Chef's Table, an ultra-exclusive 3-hour dining experience where your party is seated in the kitchen itself, where you're going to be able to talk to the chefs personally as they craft your very own degustation menu featuring solely fresh and rare ingredients that complement your specific preferences. Wine and 0 proof pairings can also be added to your meal for an extra cost. Victoria and Albert's is the place to visit if you're looking for a luxurious dining experience, hands down. But you better be ready to pay the big bucks for this type of luxury, my friends. Prices for this restaurant start at $295 per guest. And if you want to go the ultra exclusive route and splurge for the chef's table, you're looking at paying $425 per guest. If you want a wine pairing, that's an extra $150. So you could easily wind up dropping $1,000 just for you and your date. This is definitely a place you'll want to make a reservation for if food is your passion, because this is not a casual dining experience and you're going to want to make sure you eat and drink your fill here. Now, if you want an ultra fancy dining experience while still being inside the parks, Takumi Te over in Epcot is an upscale and elegant restaurant tucked away inside the Japan Pavilion that you may want to book instead of Victoria and Albert's. From the moment you step in the door, you're greeted by multiple dining rooms inspired by Japan's natural beauty, with rooms designed around the 5 natural elements: stone, water, paper, wood, and earth. Yes, I don't know how paper is a natural element either, but whatever, it's not up to us. Now, currently, the restaurant offers 2 omakase multi-course menus. Omakase means leaving it up to the chef, so your meal will be different here each time you visit. There is an omnivorous option for $250 per person and a plant-based version for $150 per person. The kiku, or omnivorous omakase, includes the chef's selection of seasonal appetizers and sushi rolls, and your choice of meat, and shiromono, which is essentially like a soup, and green tea accompanied by your choice of dessert. The Hasu plant-based experience comes with slightly less stuff, but still keeps things tasty. There's an appetizer set, veggie-based sushi rolls, deep-fried tofu, a yuba roll, vegetable tempura, and green tea with your choice of dessert. The food here is exceptional, and it should be for that price. However, this isn't somewhere you want to book casually. It does take up to 3 to 4 hours to experience, which is going to eat up a good chunk of time out of your Epcot Park day. If you're celebrating something big or this is a major bucket list item for you, then that hefty investment in both money and time could be worth it. But as someone who's experiencing Epcot for the very first time, you may want to stick with the quick, cheap, and limited time festival foods instead. Now, where are my plant-based eaters? In recent years, Disney has become much more accommodating to those with dietary restrictions, meaning they too can enjoy all the different restaurants that the parks have to offer. For guests with plant-based diets, there are some restaurants that stand out above the rest, not just because of their neato theming, but because their plant-based options are seriously impressive. Skipper Canteen over at Magic Kingdom is one of the prime examples of how to do plant-based dining in theme parks the right way. This is based on the classic Disney attraction, the Jungle Cruise, which means you'll find plenty of travel-inspired knickknacks decorating the rooms, and your servers will keep the cheesy puns a-comin'. So what plant-based dishes take the spotlight here? Well, the Falls family falafels are a popular choice for not just plant-based eaters, but all guests and people who are fans of alliteration. There's also the curry vegetable crew stew made with seasonal vegetables and pineapple tofu in a house-made curry sauce served with coconut rice. And you can get the popular Skipper Dan's Dan Dan noodles without the crispy pork to make them strictly plant-based. You'll just have to let your server know that that's how you'd like it prepared. Outside of the parks, the Disney restaurant with some of the most impressive and flavorful plant-based options, as well as all other kinds of options, has to be Sanaa over at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. Sanaa is a gorgeous restaurant that serves up a fusion of African and Indian cuisine made with authentic cooking methods like slow roasting and tandoori oven roasting. Plant-based options at Sanaa are anything other than your typical Impossible burger. You've got choices like potato and pea samosas, salad samplers, harvest entrees like rajma masala made with kidney beans, a vegetable stew like chickpea vat, sukuma wiki traditionally made with collard greens, onions, and African spices, and a hearty lentil dal soup. Good news, folks, these aren't the only restaurants with more extensive plant-based options, though. You can track down plant-based entrees on each of the restaurant's menus before heading to the parks. These are clearly noted on the menus with a little leaf. Now, how about fast food? Not everyone's got time to sit down and enjoy a nice meal for an hour or two, because some of y'all have places to be. Well, our favorite place to get a fast food meal in not just Disney World, but possibly anywhere, is Satu'li Canteen over in Animal Kingdom. So Satu'li is far from a traditional quick service. This Pandora hotspot is well known for its customizable bowls that include a base like rice, noodles, potatoes, or lettuce, a protein or fried tofu, and sauce if you want one, that is. But we've also become presidents of the Cheeseburger Steamed Pods fan club over the years, which are essentially Satu'li Canteen's cheeseburger stuffed bao buns. So Satu'li is a great option for those who aren't necessarily completely picky eaters, but also aren't necessarily completely adventurous eaters either, thanks to the customizable options that can accommodate everybody. But just so you're aware, those customizable bowls are real big. So if you're planning on eating a hearty meal for dinner, or you still want to enjoy a snack or two around the park after your lunch, then you may want to split one of these with another member of your group. Or consider ordering the kids menu portion instead, which will also wind up saving you money in the end. But let's say the customizable bowls are a little too out there for you. Is there an even safer fast food route with food quality that's just as impressive? Well, friends, I'd like to introduce you to my dear friend, Chicken Guy from Disney Springs. Chicken Guy is Guy Fieri's quick service chicken restaurant, where the main feature besides chicken, obvi, is the sauce. This restaurant offers 22 different dipping sauces for you to choose from. You can get usual sauce flavors like buffalo, buttermilk ranch, honey mustard, but why not step out of your comfort zone to try wasabi honey, bourbon brown sugar barbecue, spicy mayo, sweet sriracha barbecue, and more. Not only is the quality of the chicken superb, but the prices are some of the best you're going to find on Disney property, with a 3-tender entree priced at $6 and a 3-tender combo priced at just over $11. The seating around Chicken Guy can be rather limited, but you can easily take it to go and find seating elsewhere around the shopping district, like over at Exposition Park across from Disney's Candy Cauldron, or over at the Waterview Park right next to the boathouse. And we've gotten to my favorite part of the video. So glad you stuck around for this one. Let's talk about comfort food. There isn't anything quite like some good old-fashioned Disney comfort food to slap a smile right on your face. And you know when I start talking about comfort food, I gotta start talking about Chef Art Smith's Homecoming over at Disney Springs. This is a table service restaurant that features Southern cuisine inspired by local Florida wildlife and agriculture. I don't want to sound like a talking cliche here, but it's hard to go wrong with food at this place. That's why it's in this list. From the classic Art's famous fried chicken to the artisan options like the thigh-high chicken biscuits or the Cuban sandwich, you're in for a real hearty meal that'll make your heart and taste buds very happy. And don't forget to splurge on a side of cheddar cheese drop biscuits or get the pineapple banana hummingbird cake for dessert. If for some reason you can't get an advanced dining reservation for Homecoming, or you want to try to get a last-minute table here, try your luck at asking the host if there's a walk-up waitlist available at the time of your visit. If there is one, you'll still more than likely have a long wait ahead of you, but the host will take your name and phone number so you can continue exploring the rest of the shopping district as you pass the time. Then, when a table's ready, the host will shoot you a text message to let you know it's time to come back and eat. Okay, how about one more comfort meal for the road? Steakhouse 71 over at Disney's Contemporary Resort quickly climbed its way back into our hearts back when it first opened in 2021, thanks to its traditional American steakhouse vibes, along with its not-so-subtle nods to Disney World's yesteryear. The restaurant is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but what makes it stand out for us are its super cheesy stack burger, the steakhouse cuts, and the steak sauce flights available during dinner only. And it's also got standout appetizers like the bacon and eggs, the fried onion rings, and also super cheesy French onion soup. Steakhouse 71 is a nice getaway spot from Magic Kingdom if you need a break from all the crowds, since it's just a monorail ride or a walk away. But if you weren't able to get a dining reservation here, you can always see if there's any lounge or bar availability instead for a smaller selection of bites, but a still extensive menu of drinks. And I'll tell you what, y'all, I was just at Steakhouse 71 last week for lunch with my mom, and it is still unbelievable. That stack burger, I don't even know how they do it. It is impeccable. You've got to try it. Now, sure, you can always dine your way around Epcot's World Showcase during one of their 4 festivals if you want to try a bunch of international samplings on the fly. But what if you want a nice sit-down meal with a full menu of food you don't normally have at your restaurants back home? Well, if you're looking for international cuisine, we've got the answer. Morimoto Asia over in Disney Springs might be just the cultural experience you're after. This is a Pan-Asian restaurant, and at the helm is Iron Chef Masaharu Morimoto. It's got an upscale vibe and an upscale dim sum style menu with options like meat plates and noodle bowls and the extremely pricey but delicious Japanese A5 Wagyu beef. Here you're also going to find specialty exhibition kitchens and tableside presentations and private lounges. Now, Morimoto Asia is not for the faint of wallets, so you're definitely going to want to budget for this one, especially if you plan on trying multiple items per person. However, if you're looking for a much cheaper option with items that still come straight from the Morimoto kitchen, you can also order from the Morimoto Asia street food counter just outside the restaurant for a limited menu of Pan-Asian eats at a cheaper price point. Come on down to Pioneer Hall for Disney World's one and only dinner theater performance. Hoop-de-Doo Musical Review over at Disney's Fort Wilderness is an extravaganza of all-you-can-eat comfort food like fried chicken and ribs, mashed potatoes, you name it. They've even got refillable non-alcoholic and select alcoholic beverages for those who are 21 years and older. By the way, the sangria is not very good. I would not recommend it. Anyway, while you're busy chowing down on these seemingly never-ending eats, you're also going to be watching the Pioneer Hall players singing, dancing, telling jokes, and getting the audience hyped up for a full evening of immersive hoedown entertainment. Which, by the way, continues to hold up. I have seen this show so many times, and I still laugh hysterically every single time I see it. They are so good. Now, there are a couple of things I want to point out about this restaurant before you decide to make it a priority visit for your upcoming trip. 1, because this is a show you're going to be attending, reservation times are more limited. There are typically 3 showtimes per evening for Hoop-de-Doo, 4 p.m., 6:15, and 8:30. Showtimes are currently unavailable for Monday and Tuesday evenings. Along with these very specific time slots, you're also going to have your choice of how much you want to pay for this meal, and it all depends on where you choose to sit. Here's a quick look at the tiered seating prices for Hoop-de-Doo. You could probably put 2 and 2 together here, but the category 1 and 2 seats are going to be the best seats in the house, and category 3 may be cheaper, but you'll often have a much more limited view of the show. And second thing you want to know, transportation to Pioneer Hall can be tricky since, it's out in the wilderness and all. So take a gander at the bus and boat systems ahead of your visit to be sure you have plenty of time to get to Fort Wilderness for your reservation. And note that Disney recommends you arrive 30 minutes prior to your scheduled showtime. If you arrive by car or Disney bus from another park to the entrance of Fort Wilderness, you will need to take an additional bus ride over to Pioneer Hall, which could take you an additional 30 minutes. So like I said, make sure you start heading toward Fort Wilderness early to give yourself plenty of time to make it over to the restaurant. Now, if you take a boat over from Magic Kingdom or from one of the other resorts in the area, then you're going to be right there at Pioneer Hall, so that's going to be a little less stressful in terms of figuring out the bus system. Now, there's one thing I can say is true about every single one of these Disney World restaurants. I would eat there right now if I had the chance to. So thanks for joining me in some of the best Disney World restaurants today. Go ahead and drop your favorite Disney World restaurants down in the comments because, of course, there's no way we can talk about all of our favorites here, right? There's absolutely no way. I'm thinking in my head about 10 million other restaurants that I wish I could tell you about today, but don't worry, we talk about them all in all of our videos, and of course, they're in the DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining. Now, if you want to hear about even more, don't forget to download our free list featuring our top 10 restaurants in every Disney World park, as well as in the Disney Springs shopping district over at disneyfoodblog.com/top restaurants. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.